Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a get ready with me video. I haven't done one of these in ages. So I'm going to use some of the products that I showed you in my haul video. I obviously can't use all of them, but I will use the ones that I think a lot of you are the most excited about, we'll say. So let's get started. Alright, the first thing I do when I do my makeup is I put some sort of lip treatment product on my lips, so that by the time I get to the end of my makeup and apply the regular lip product, it's had a chance to sink in. So I'm just going to use this lip smacker, and it's shaped like Winnie the Pooh. How cute is this? You've probably seen these in the stores. I did a video all about a lot of the different characters that are available. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that on my lips. And by the time I get to the end of the process, hopefully this will be adequate moisture to use what I'm going to use. Alright, the next product that you always see, if you ever are curious about what is on my face, I always list all the products in the description box, so anytime you want that information, it's always going to be there. So the first thing that you normally see, I don't normally write what kind of lip treatment product I use because really it's not that big of a deal. So I usually start with my list with this. This is e.l.f. Hydrating Under Eye Primer. And this is just going to give that under eye area a little bit more moisture to start with. Just saw something flash across my screen. But it's still recording, so I guess we're good to go. Alright, as you can see, this impression in my face, because it's not really a dark circle, it's like a concave deep indentation, is worse than on the other side, and this has to do with allergies. My allergies have been so bad lately. I think it's ragweed season, so yeah, they've been really bad. So just gonna put a little bit of that extra moisture in that indentation, and then do the other side, and that's really all this is. It's kind of like an eye cream, really. So that's e.l.f. Hydrating Under Eye Primer. Then the next thing I'm going to use is my City Color Correct and Perfect palette, and I showed that to you in a video recently. And I'm just going to use this pink shade here, which is the first one in the palette. And I just use my finger, I don't use a brush for this, and then I just kind of melt it right in. This blends like a dream. So that's going to be my corrector. And I'm not putting hardly any pressure at all because it just melts right in. You don't have to blend it with a brush or anything. Okay, the next thing I'm going to use is Maybelline Baby Skin. And this is really a pore eraser, but I use it as a foundation primer. I really like it for that. So I'm just going to use a small amount. Oh, I got pen on my hand again. Darn it. I had a pink pen that, like a fluorescent pink pen that leaked, and it leaked all over so many things that everything I touch, I'm still getting pen on my hand. Alright, so just going to put this all over. And you'll see that that makes my face like red when I do that because I'm stimulating. I'm like massaging the skin, so that brings like all the blood to the surface. But it'll go away when I put my foundation on. Okay, so that's Maybelline Baby Skin as a foundation primer. And then my foundation these days is NARS All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation in the shade Mont Blanc. And going to use the BH Cosmetics 123 brush. And this is just a flat top. What's the official name of it? Flat top buffing brush. Shake up my foundation. This is probably the most pigmented foundation I've ever used. It kind of reminds me of those Cover FX custom blending drops. It's that pigmented. I don't have those, but I've played with the testers at Sephora. Alright, so no, I don't think I'm going to pump it onto my hand. I think I'm just going to pump it directly onto the brush. It's less messy that way. So I'm just going to do one pump, just a tiny little bit, and just buff that right in. And you can see it really takes that redness down. Oh, by the way, remember in a video recently I was asking you guys for suggestions about the staining issue on this brush. Thank you so much for your suggestions. And I decided to try the ones first that I already had some of the ingredients to use at home without having to buy anything, and one of them worked fantastic. So thank you so much for your suggestions. The one that worked was one of you had suggested that I use coconut oil to start with, swirl the brush in coconut oil, and then use some kind of cleaner afterwards to break up the coconut oil. What I ended up using, you didn't say anything about baby shampoo, but I used the coconut oil first, and then I used baby shampoo to break up the coconut oil, and I rinsed it out real good. Every bit of stain came off. So thank you so much for the coconut oil suggestion. That worked great. If you want to go back and read that comment to see exactly what she suggested, she also suggested Noxzema. She said either coconut oil or Noxzema. Well, I didn't have any Noxzema, so I decided to go with the coconut oil first, and that worked great. Okay, so I put another drop to do the other side. A lot of you suggested the dual phase eye makeup remover, and that didn't work. And I used quite a bit of it too. I used a little bit and it didn't work, so I used more and it still didn't work. So that didn't touch the stain on any of my brushes that were stained, but the coconut oil took every trace of it off. And it took it off before I used the baby shampoo too. Coconut oil just, the stain just melted off the brush. It was amazing. So that's what I'm going to use now. I'd rather not use that all the time though. I'll only use it when on the brushes that get stained, because it's kind of messy to work with coconut oil. Alright, so as you can see, that took all the redness away. This is a full coverage foundation. It's pretty expensive, but I really like it. And the next thing that I usually do is put on concealer. And I use Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circles in Light. I just give it one twist and then put that right in those dark circles. So you can see that it takes the darkness away, but you can still kind of see the indentations, but it's definitely way, way better. I'd say like 85% better than when I started. So I think that little sponge on the top really helps get that product in there, because you don't, if I use a brush after that to blend it out, it doesn't look as good as when I just, you know, apply it with the sponge and just kind of let it sink in. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is my face contour. I'm going to use the Pixie by Petra contouring powder from Target. And I did a whole video about this. So you're going to see it in action. And I'm going to use my favorite face contour brush. This is by Real Techniques. It's their sculpting brush. So I'm just going to put some of that product on there. And I've been trying to take my contour back a little bit further now. I think I used to go down too far. So I'm just starting a little bit higher up. Yeah, I think I used to go too far down. Then I take the brush and I turn it sideways to blend it. See, it's still hard to get it. That, if you make a mistake, and if you do it right away, you can usually just kind of erase it with your finger if you do go down too far. Well, at least if you're using this powder, you can anyways. Really nice powder. This is really awkward doing this in the monitor. Usually it's like done. The image is reversed of what I'm seeing here. But I wanted to do it this way rather than use a separate mirror, because if I use a separate mirror, I'm looking off to the side. Ah! Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is take this LA Colors Peach Rose Single Blush that I showed you in yesterday's haul video. And this is so pretty. And I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics 126 Blush Brush. And what I'm doing right now that you can't see is I like to like fluff up the brush because sometimes it's a little flat from being washed yesterday. So put some of that on my brush and put that right above the contour. And bring it down a little more onto the cheek. That is such a natural looking color, isn't it? It doesn't even look like blush. It just looks like my natural flushed color. Alright, really like that. And then I'm going to use the Essence Pure Nude highlighter in Be My Highlight that I showed in yesterday's haul video. This is from Ulta. And I'm going to use the BH Cosmetics 125 brush. So I'm just fluffing up my brush. This is a beige highlight. Normally I use pink or gold or peach or white, but I don't usually use beige. So this is something a little different, and I like it, surprisingly. So I'm just going to go right across the top of my cheekbones. So it's just going to give me a little glow. I like it. Very natural looking. It's not one of those bam in your face highlights. Alright, next up, Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. and this is in light bronzer. And I'm going to use the BH Cosmetics 124 brush, fluff up my brush. And you don't have to, if you have the light one of this, you don't have to be careful with it at all. It's very, very light. Okay, I'm going to go across my hairline. And this just gives you a nice warm glow. And down the edge of my hairline. And then I'm going to go under my chin. Right along the jawline. And then I just kind of look and see if any spots look extra white, and it looks really white there. So I'm just gonna add a little more so that I don't have any white spots standing out. Okay. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a MAC paint pot in Layin Low, which looks like this, and I'm going to use that as an eyeshadow base. And this is a light warm brown, I would say. Could also be classified as a peach, but it's just a matte finish. I love MAC paint pots. Eyeshadows go on so nice over these. And I'm going to use my finger and just let my finger melt into the product. And I'm going to put that right across the eyelids. And then work it up a little into the crease. So it's just going to give me like a peachy base to start with. If I'm using warm colored shadows, this is a better option than Painterly, which is what I normally would use. Painterly is very neutral, I think. You could really just use Painterly for everything because it is so neutral. But if I really want to enhance some warm colored shadows, then sometimes I like to go with Layin Low. A lot of people use soft ochre, but I don't know. To me, that's really, really light. This is more of a natural, neutral, mid-range canvas, I think, instead of going so light as soft ochre. Okay. I'm going to use that same eyeshadow palette that I showed you in yesterday's video by LA Colors. It's the LA Colors Matte Eyeshadow Palette in CEM 481. And I love the way my eyeshadow came out yesterday, but I'm going to use this in a different way today, in a different combination, and see how I feel about
11 o'clock.
See how I feel about that versus the look I did yesterday. Just because it's when you play with a palette, you don't always have to use it the same way, obviously. So we're going to do something a little different this time. Okay, I'm going to take that lightest shade, the cream colored one, and I'm going to use my ring finger. And look how creamy that is. Very nice. And I'm going to put that right as my brow bone highlight with my finger. And I start at the arch and go back. So nothing crazy. I like to start with the brow bone highlight because if you try to add it on the end, sometimes it will mess up your crease work. So there's the highlight shade. And now what I'm going to do is, yesterday I used this peachy color, on my lids, today I'm going to use this color on my lids. And now yesterday I used that as a crease color. So today it's going to be a lid shade. So we'll see how I like this versus yesterday's look. Okay. And to apply that, I'm going to use the BH Cosmetics 130 brush. It's just a large flat shader brush. So I'm going to pat that on my lids. I'm going to try to get it right down as close to the lashes as possible. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys have this problem, but sometimes when you apply your eyeshadow on your lids, you end up with a little gap in between, and that is not an attractive look. So you want to try to make sure that it blends all the way down to the lashes. I was a little worried that this might be too dark as a lid shade for me, but it seems to be okay. And it seems to, the Layin Low Paint Pot was a perfect base for this, I think, in terms of color. Okay. Now we're going to do the crease color. And I'm going to use the BH Cosmetics 129 brush. And I'm going to use that darkest shade in the palette. So I'm going to have to be very, very careful with this because it's pretty dark. So I'm going to very carefully just press my brush into the eyeshadow. And I'm just going to do a little bit at a time because it's way easier to do it that way than it is to put too much on there and then not be able to blend it all out. So I'm going to start on the outside portion, and I'm just going to sort of dab it on to begin with. And I'm not going to go all the way across because this is such a dark shade. Okay, now I'm going to buff it a little bit. So I'm just kind of tapping it to get like an even distribution of color. Then I'm gonna blend. It looks pretty even. Maybe just a tiny bit more over here. Yep, that looks pretty even. Okay. Now I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics 132 brush, which is like a detailer brush, and I'm going to go back into that dark shade and put a little bit on this brush. And I'm going to go right under the lower lashes. So the way I used the palette today, it's just a little bit darker than the way I used it yesterday. Yesterday's look was really natural looking. I really won't know which one I like better until I finish. Okay, next we're going to use an eyeliner. And this is by Shea Moisture, and it's in the shade Brown. And I'm going to go right at the base of my lashes. My eyes are tearing up a little more than usual because of the bright light. Okay, now I'm going to do the upper lash line, sometimes called the tight line. Just going to slide that along the upper lash line. And as you can see, I don't put the product on my eyelid. When you get older, everything drops. Everything. Including your face. So if I put the eyeliner on the lid, it closes everything off. So by putting the liner on the inside of the lash line, I don't lose any of my lid space there, and it keeps my eyes looking big, which is what I want. I don't want my eyes to look any smaller, so this maximizes all my lid space that I have. Okay, it's time for mascara. If you saw yesterday's video, I was talking about the Maybelline The Falsies Push Up Angel Mascara. I love this mascara. Best mascara I've ever used. And trust me, I've tried a lot of them. And this is the washable kind, not the waterproof version, because that's what I like. And it's got this weird shaped brush. It's like a thin razor type thing. It's really weird. It's got bristles that are all different lengths. And yeah, so let's put that on. I start with the lower lashes, because if I do it the other way around, when I go to do the lower lashes, the upper lashes touch all up here, and then it transfers. So always start with your lower lashes, and then you won't get any transfer. So I do both sets of lower lashes. As you can see, I'm not getting any clumping or anything, and it makes my lashes nice and long. And it wasn't that bad to take off either. You know how sometimes you'll find this great mascara and then it's impossible to take off at the end of the day? It came off pretty normally, I would say, last night when I removed it. Okay, next is eyebrows. I'm going to use the e.l.f. eyebrow pencil in Taupe. So I usually just start at the beginning. Short strokes to fill in that beginning part. And then just kind of work my way across to any areas that look sparse. And then I usually just run it down to the tip. And then I flip it over and take the spoolie and blend a little. And then I go across the top and just kind of lay it down a little bit. Okay. All right. The next thing is lips. Remember in yesterday's haul video, I showed you that I had bought the NYX Nude Truffle Lip Liner? Well, and I also showed you the Milani Amore Matte Metallic Lip Cream in Chromatic Addict, which is kind of like a rose gold. What I forgot to say was that I bought this lip liner to use with this because it's very like nude, and it doesn't have a real strong undertone to it, this lip liner. Very neutral. Most lip liners that are nude, they either have like a pink or a red or an orange or a peach undertone. This is the most straight up neutral nude liner that I've ever seen. So that's why I bought that. And hopefully this will work out the way I wanted it to, but that's what I'm going to use as a lip liner. Okay, so I lined them and I'm going to fill them in. My lips are so pigmented it looks like I'm wearing lipstick already. So you can't even see this color. Alright, hopefully that will give it a little something, give this a little something to cling to and maybe mute my natural lip color just a tiny little bit. Okay, so Milani Amore Matte Metallic Lip Cream in Chromatic Addict, which is number 10. Just in case you didn't see yesterday's video, these are permanent now. They're not limited edition anymore. I found it at Walmart, and that's the only place that I've seen them so far, but I would imagine eventually that any place that sells Milani will have these. So these are metallic matte lip creams. It's looking very gold. I don't think I like this on me. Yeah, that looks straight up gold. It doesn't look... Well, yeah, I guess it kind of does, but it's more gold than it is the rose gold. And that's why I used the lip liner, because I wanted to, you know, try to help this product out a bit. So let's let it dry though, and maybe I'll like it better after it dries. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pause this video and go do something with my hair, take it down, whatever, fluff it up. And then by that time the lip will be dry and we can see what the end result is. I'll be right back. Yeah, so I don't think this is a good lip color for me. It just looks very gold, and gold is not usually a good color for me. I have to be really careful when it comes to gold. I can very rarely use gold as a makeup color. So yeah, not really happy. I think that if I had gone with peach, would have been way more complimentary, or even a nude. I think a nude would have been okay. Maybe one of those darker nudes that I showed you in yesterday's video would have been a better choice. As a matter of fact, maybe I should just go take this off and put one of those products on instead, and I think that would look a lot better. Alright, let's do that. Hold on. Alright, this is Maybelline Matte Lipstick in Clay Crush, and it's better. I'm not loving this either. It's too orange, I think. It does tie in with the eye look, but as you can see, the warm colors aren't really that flattering on me. Like, alright, for example, my shirt is peach, but it's kind of a lighter, brighter peach, and those are the types of peaches and corals and nudes that I can wear. But when you start going too orange and warm and deep, doesn't look as good on me. And it has to do with my undertone. A lot of you have asked me questions about undertones and what they mean and how that works. And yeah, this is a perfect example. I have cool tone skin. The eye look and the lips are very warm, and it sort of conflicts with my pink undertones. Pink is a cool color. So it's not, I mean, I'll still wear it anyway. I don't care. I like to wear all different colors and tones and textures and everything. So I'm just saying that this is not the most flattering look for me. But warm tones, yeah, they're hard to pull off when you have a cool undertone to your skin. But I still think this is an improvement over the gold. The gold looked, ugh, I think that looked awful. Well, it was supposed to be rose gold, but all I saw was gold when I looked at that. And then this has kind of an orange undertone to it. Very warm. Well, it's clay. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.